Welcome to r/slash Trueoffmychest, where a husband ghosts his 6-month pregnant wife. Today's episode is sponsored by Cook Unity. You know what I had for lunch today? Cook Unity. And you know what I'm going to have for dinner later today? Again, Cook Unity. Cook Unity sponsored my channel a while back and sent me some free meals, and ever since then, I've been ordering weekly meals from them because I genuinely love them that much. The way it works is pretty simple. You download the app and select meals you want to eat. I've been dieting, so personally I like the healthy meal options. Then, your meals are prepared by skilled local chefs who then ship the ready-to-eat meals to your house. All you have to do is heat them up and you're good to go. I've never been a big fan of grocery shopping, cooking, or planning for meals, so this service is right up my alley. And on top of that, I genuinely like the food. Obviously, I wouldn't have signed up for the extra weeks if I didn't. With every week that goes by, I get a better understanding of the chefs and the dishes I like, so each week gets tastier and tastier. The subscription is super flexible, and you can pause, skip weeks, or cancel at any time. Go to cookunity.com/r/ or click the link in the description. Use my code r/50 to get 50% off your first order of Cook Unity meals to try them out yourself. Our next Reddit post is from Anonymous Stories. I ignored my husband so much that he went away without telling me. I'm a 30-year-old woman, and my husband, Harry, is 31. I'm 6 months pregnant with me and my husband's first child. During this pregnancy, I've been very exhausted every day and would usually come home from work and go to bed an hour later. Then I'd wake up at midnight and reheat what Harry had made us for dinner. For context, I've been part of a huge work project that's been going on for months, and I've been extremely overworked. On top of this, my husband doesn't have a job at the moment and isn't looking for one unless I remind him. I've been working overtime to get as much money as I can before maternity leave. Our anniversary was on the 6th of August, and I'd asked my husband if we could have a romantic dinner at home and then snuggle up to watch TV under a warm blanket. I thought that this was a wonderful idea since I was too tired to go out and because I knew that Harry was doing most, if not all, of the household chores. However, he seemed a little annoyed when he agreed, but I thought nothing of it. The next morning, Harry seemed quite cold towards me and barely looked me in the eyes. Once I got home from work, he wasn't there, but that was normal since he could have been out with friends or at an interview, so I went to sleep. I woke up at about 11 p.m. that night to see that I was still alone in the house, so I checked my phone. I had about 8 missed calls from Harry and a long text. The text read, "I understand how tired you are because of this pregnancy and you having to work extra hours most days, but I'm over being ignored every day and having a 5-minute conversation with you every so often. You expect me to do all the housework and plan our boring anniversary alone? I'm really annoyed, so I'm staying at a friend tonight. Text me when you see this." Of course, I called him and texted him about being sorry and wanting to talk, but I never got an answer. In the morning, I called my boss about having a day off, and I spent most of the day waiting for Harry and planning my apology. However, when he came home, he silently handed me a rose and a card saying that he loves me, but he needs a few days away from me to figure out what he's going to say and do. Then those days became a week. I messaged him every day, and he would constantly say that he needed one more day, or just another night at his friend's to figure everything out. But then, 8 days after he initially left, I decided to go to that friend's home where he was staying to confront him. So I drove over 30 minutes away and banged on the door so hard that I could hear it echo from inside. By this point, I realized that I should have put more effort into our relationship, but he also should have talked to me about this instead of just running away. Harry's friend came to the door and was confused but pleased to see me. He seemed a little on edge as I talked to him, and he had to break the silence every so often with comments about my pregnancy and how he couldn't wait to meet the baby. Finally, we stopped talking, and I practically demanded to see Harry, saying that I wanted to apologize, but also explain how childish he was being by hiding from me. The thing that I found absolutely hilarious, but actually not hilarious at all, was that his friend said that Harry wasn't there at all and that he had left for Ireland 5 days ago. Ireland! To say that I was absolutely beyond furious and extremely confused would be such an understatement. His friend invited me in and sat me down to talk. It turns out Harry had told his friend of our problems and had come up with the solution of going on a holiday as a couple to sort everything out and learn to love each other again. So, of course, his friend thought that this was a lovely idea and helped him book the flight on the evening of the 5th. Coincidentally, that was the first night that Harry stayed at that friend's house. His friend then explained how he had been confused when I arrived at the door, but didn't want to say anything about the holiday in case it had ended early due to us arguing. Harry's return ticket is booked for 1 week from now. I'm just so angry and quite heartbroken, to be completely honest. I messaged Harry the moment that I found this out, and he only responded with, "Had to figure things out. Sorry." So now I'm home alone, again, and trying to figure out what I'm going to do or say when he gets home. Also, for context, OP lives in the UK, so Ireland is, it's over water, but it's not super far. Also, OP clarifies that her husband is paying for the vacation out of his own pocket. Hey, look, I can sympathize with a guy feeling lonely and kind of ignored because his wife is overworked and tired and pregnant and doesn't have much time or energy to invest in the relationship. But there are healthy ways to deal with this problem, and mysteriously vanishing to Ireland for 2 weeks with no notice is not the way to do that. I mean, Opie is busting her butt while pregnant to provide for her unborn child, and her unemployed, uncaring husband, and his response is to just ghost her? What if something happens to the baby? What if she has a miscarriage or a really early birth and she's in the hospital and he's like, I forgot to tell you, I'm drinking Guinness in Ireland, so, sorry, I guess. And the saddest part of this post is that this guy manipulated OP into making him feel like she had done something wrong. It's like, come on, girl, you're not neglecting him, you're just exhausted because you're working nonstop while pregnant. I really honestly genuinely feel like this is divorce territory. Even if you completely erase the pregnancy angle, I think that just having a husband or a wife just vanish into smoke for 2 weeks going to another country without even telling the partner is a deal breaker in my opinion. It's irresponsible, it's uncaring, it's kind of dangerous a little bit. Because if something happened to either one of you, the other person wouldn't even know. Also, a lot of people are saying that the husband is probably cheating on OP, which I won't say is definitely the case because we don't really have any hard evidence to support it, but let me just say I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's the case. I mean, hey, maybe he is in Ireland by himself for 2 weeks. Possible, but not super likely. Also, OP posted a very brief update. I'm not deciding anything until our talk, but I definitely won't be staying in my home with him after this. I can't trust him not to run away again. I've gained some self-respect, and I realize that he's being a butthole, so I talked to my mom, and she's happy for me to move in with her on the 21st, and I'm free to stay with her for as long as I need to. And then OP posted another update, so let's see what happened. For the last few days, Harry's friend has been living with me and helping me through this. Yo, Harry's friend is more of a husband than Harry is himself. That is awful. Okay. Focus, Dabney. One way that he supported me was that he scheduled a couple and individual counselor for Harry and I. I've also been calling my mom every day since I found out. Also, my counselor, Harry's friend, and my mom all gave me the same advice. So I scheduled an early maternity leave with a slight bonus to each paycheck because of all my overtime and unpaid help. I officially start my maternity in 4 days. Yesterday, Harry's friend went to pick up Harry and sent me photos of who he was with as reassurance that it was his sister, Tiffany. To be clear, Tiffany is Harry's sister, not Harry's friend's sister. When they arrived, I prepared dinner and cleaned the downstairs of our home so that we could have a civilized conversation without hunger or distractions to stop us. Harry looked extremely tired, and he seemed to be on the verge of crying the moment that I opened the door to them all. I was incredibly patient for the sole reason of being able to get through this discussion in one piece. And so when Harry wouldn't speak, I let Tiff explain why she had gone with him. Tiff is a lovely lady who helped me through the few months before my pregnancy. However, Harry didn't stay in close contact with her, and I lost touch with her when the work project started. Because of this, she had no clue about anything going on until Harry called her and said that he had a spare ticket to Ireland. At first, she was reluctant to go since she knew that I was pregnant. And so she tried to ask why Harry would leave me and whether or not I was with someone who could care for me. Eventually, Harry snapped and told her the real reason of why he was going away. So she joined him to make sure that he knew that it was wrong, but also to help him through all the emotions that he was feeling. Tiff was the reason that Harry came back to me. If she hadn't have gone with him, then Harry admitted that he might have moved to central London or to a small village in the countryside to hide from this. It took everything in me not to cry when she admitted that, and I could clearly see the shame on Harry's face. Also, let me rapid fire a couple of clarifying details. 1. Harry did use his own money to pay for the tickets. 2. The reason that Harry's friend didn't see who the other ticket was for was because once they'd found the tickets, Harry's friend had already gone to bed. 3. Tiffany was by Harry's side the entire holiday in Ireland and confirmed that, without a doubt, this was not to find a fling. They spent most of their days in the cheapest hotel room possible in silence before Harry started talking about everything. 4. When we met and married, Harry was a loving, hardworking, job-having man whose only dream was to have a wonderful family, and then retire to one of those cute stone villages in the south of England. After an hour of me and Tiff talking, Harry finally spoke up. Tiff and Harry's friend went to the living room, but I never realized how strange it would feel to be with Harry again. He confessed that he had stopped loving me a month into my pregnancy. He said that it had nothing to do with the fact that I was sick all the time, dirty as a mole, or wouldn't stop talking about the baby. He just didn't have a reason. Since he couldn't think of why he stopped loving me, he assumed that the love would come back in time, that maybe it was some delusion caused by the stress of the baby on the way. Over time, that love didn't come back, and he started feeling incredibly guilty and alone in everything, which is when he got fired from his job. He originally told me that he got fired because his work performance was belittled by new management. But really, it was because he was too trapped in his feelings to think of anything except for how much he didn't love me. Then he just never tried to get a job because sitting at home without me was much better than sitting at work and possibly getting fired again. He came to love that he had alone time until the moment that he felt alone. That was when he refused to work just so that he wouldn't have to see me. He wanted to sit and wait and see how long it would take before I came to him. This trip was to test the waters. It was to see if life would be better without me, and he still hasn't decided. Yo, this dude, I'm pissed off, you guys. This guy's pissing me off. Oh my god. During this whole explanation, he kept emphasizing how he didn't love me and said that it was like I was a child who needed to hear something 1,000 times just to understand it. He never apologized. In a rough way, I was shocked, distraught. If you have a word to describe that awful emotion, then I felt it. I cried, I shouted, I cried again, and we sat in silence until I could talk. Then I told him how I could never trust him again. How could I possibly trust him not to walk out on me or the baby? How could I trust him to tell me these things or explain his emotions or to see the story from both sides? How could I possibly work myself to the bone again for such an unloving husband? So I made the decision for him. We could go to couples counseling. Not to be a better couple, but just to understand each other so that we could actually talk. Because no matter what, our lives would always involve each other because of the marriage and the baby, so we had to be able to talk. I moved into my mom's home, and I'm free to stay there for as long as I need to. My mom is helping me make the spare room into a nursery, and she's being the most amazing, supportive, incredible mom that anybody could be. Tiff and I are going to stay in closer contact, and Harry's ex-friend said that he can be an appointment driver and is going to be my second emergency contact. As for when I go into labor, my mom will be with me, and Tiff and Harry's ex-friend will be waiting to meet the baby and to stop Harry from ever seeing the delivery room. Finally, I made it clear to Harry that we'll separate for now, but we will divorce and remain separated after the baby is born. I'll make sure that he is not included on my emergency contacts. He can't be trusted to show up or even be where he says he is. I'm not going to update this anymore since I have things to do and a baby to prepare for. Oh man, I have to point out that OP said that Harry's ex-friend, not his current friend, but his ex-friend is going to be driving her to appointments. This dude's buddy is a better husband than the actual husband. Man, I try not to cuss on this channel, but Harry is an absolute fucking loser. This dude has an amazing wife who's working hard for the family, who's carrying his baby. And the second that she can't focus 100% on his needs, he's like, actually, I'm not sure if I love you anymore. Let me just vanish for 2 weeks while you figure it out and carry my baby on your own. And then when he got back, I was expecting him to apologize. I was expecting him to be sorry, to say, I went through so much trauma. Please take me back, babe. But instead he's like, let me be super, super clear. I don't love you. I don't love you anymore. I'm not going to love you. I don't even like you. And he didn't even have the balls to come and confront her in person. The only reason he did is because his sister dragged him here. He was just going to vanish like a weak little coward. God, ugh. This dude flew to Ireland to sit in a cheap hotel with his sister? Not even to sightsee, not even to walk the wave-tossed cliffsides of Ireland and stare out into the ocean and reflect about the man that he wants to be. No, he just sat in some cheap motel in silence while his sister silently judged him. Huh? Well, what's even the point? You think it's possible that he was planning on cheating, but when the sister took him up on his offer, which he probably wasn't expecting him to, he realized he couldn't, so because he had like a chaperone, and that kind of ruined his plans? I don't know. I'm having a lot of trouble getting into this guy's head. Okay, so I'm recording this in the morning, and a lot of the times when I record episodes in the morning, I'll take the juiciest stories of the day, and then when I go upstairs to have lunch with my wife and my daughter, I will tell my wife, oh my God, you gotta listen to this story. I cannot wait to tell this story to my wife, because that's what it means to have a loving relationship with a partner. You want to share things and be involved, and you love to be around each other. I feel so sorry. Not only for OP, but also for the guy, to be honest. Like, I loathe him. I hate him. I think he's an awful person. But I know what he's missing out on. He's missing out on being involved in his kid's life, watching her grow up, become a person. And it's sad. It's sad that he's such a pathetic fucking loser that he'll miss out on this. That he's ruining his wife's life. Man, I cannot insult this guy enough. I'll stop talking because you guys are probably sick of it. That was r/Trueoffmychest. And if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.